Hey, it's the Chief Bonding with Board Games and RPGs, and we are back with more episodes from Blade Runner and our Blade Runner hack. So I'm using Free League's Blade Runner series. I'll also be running it with the Mythic, both the Mystery Matrix, which is in this compendium book, and the regular Mythic emulator for an Oracle, yes, no questions, and logical events that will happen throughout the course of an episode. If you like the show, please do make sure to thumb it and subscribe. These are a bit different, so sometimes they, I think, well, I know they're not as popular as some of my other content. So where we're at with the mystery. Tyson Finn, of course, showed up on video. Hack got the case to track him down. He was supposed to have been, Tyson that is, retired. All right, he was an android that was killed. And Hack has been tracking down all the clues available, tracked through the sheet, and he has now come to Dr. Clovis Edivane. He had run down the clues to Edivane's wife, and the fact that Clovis, I think we're just going to call him Clovis. Should maybe be Dr. Edivane, but that Clovis had a propensity to make his own cloned androids that were skinned to look like other people, deep fake style. And that he'd fairly recently been employed by the Wallace Corporation, who of course were in between the two movies, and the Wallace Corporation is on the rise. So that leads Hack to head to the Wallace Corporation, which is still being built as we know. It's almost complete. They had the Grand Gala event where we saw Love, and as he shows up, I believe he's going to meet Love again. But as we have to do, since it's Mythic, percentile dice. And is there going to be, I guess it's not the full percentile dice, just a 10-sided die, is there going to be a scene interrupt? The chaos factor, which I need to refresh, is at 5. So if we get a 5 or less, it is a 6. So there is no interrupt. Hack strolls into the same scene we now know from 2049 Blade Runner, which is Hack walks into that room that almost looks like a bunker, with a person inside as a receptionist, but it's very sterile environment. Hack walks in, kind of has to look down through that little portal access, and says that quite simply he would like to talk to Dr. Clovis Edivane. Or would he ask to talk to Love? He met Love at the event. You know what? I bet you he would. Well, let's ask. Would he? I'm leaning that he would ask to talk to Love. He's already been introduced to her. And knowing that she's kind of Mr. Wallace's right-hand person, or right-hand android, I bet you it's a good, I think it is very likely that instead of asking to talk to Clovis directly, he might try to go for the angle of Love. So we will roll percentile dice, and if we get an 85 or less, then yes, that's what he does. 78. Yeah, so he kind of debates, does he just try to get with Clovis? But he doesn't think he'll actually get that interview in that format. So as he comes up, and I can't remember, but I'm sure Love would have provided him whatever the version of a business card is in this time frame. And he says, I would like to talk to Love. And I think the person cues in without breaking any eye contact. I would imagine Love with her little glasses that we've seen in 2049 or some form thereof, maybe a monocle. That would be cool. Gets the tone, gets clued in, is able to see the video, cocks her head as she kind of looks at it, and then says she'll be right there. So we will get to meet Love Interesting. So I picture Hack standing in this austere environment, kind of a duck out of water, but he's just kind of observing what's observable, which isn't much. I think part of the whole idea of the Wallace Corporation is that whole bunkered feel. And as he's standing there, he hears like a door open somewhere. He can't even tell from where, but he hears the click of heels. And I know I don't think Love wore heels in the movie, but I love that distant click, click, click. Almost, and maybe I'm reminiscent of the original Blade Runner with those heels clicking. So whatever, nice mixture. Here's the click, click coming, but with the walls and the way they bounce off, you can't even tell where it's coming from. I think normally it would be disconcerting. Hack could care less, doesn't care. He just stands there, and Love finally pops up from an angle that he didn't expect, and she says, "Nice to see you again, Hack." And Hack says, "I didn't think I'd be seeing you this soon, but I thought we could talk." And she says, "Follow me." And she turns and proceeds to walk along these lit paths that you've seen if you've seen 2049, where the light and the shadows and the angles, it's almost like you're walking through an Egyptian crypt or a pyramid, but you're on the inside of it. And she seems to be almost wordlessly taking him through a tour of the building that has been completed, almost, but the areas she's taking him through are completed, and it's quite the spectacle. So the building, as you've seen, speaks for itself. They move into a white light environment with a very open room and couches and like stainless steel tables. And she says, "Have a seat." And she sits opposite from him very formally. And, "What can I do for you, detective?" "Dr. Clovis Edivane, I would love to be able to talk to him. I know him, but why would you be interested?" And I think Hack would be, no, and I know he would be direct. He's just going to cut straight to the chase. Now, in the game world of this, they talk about if you cross the Wallace Corporation, you can find yourself gone pretty fast. I don't think Hack cares. And it's not even clear to him if what Clovis is doing, although it's pretty clear that he must be doing deep fakes, but why would the Wallace Corporation even hire him? So part of what this has to be is almost an interrogation of Love. There's an interesting sentence. But in the form of wanting to interview Clovis. So let's riff a little bit. What would Hack do? Clovis seems to be pretty adept at fakery, and his skills are well known. But I am curious, why would the Wallace Corporation hire somebody that seems to want to hide in the shadows? Well, detective, everyone knows that the Wallace Corporation doesn't hide perfection. I guarantee we wouldn't employ Dr. Edivane in order to move in the shadows. Mr. Wallace prefers to stand in the light. So you're saying you have no idea about Clovis's work with making copies of humans to do God knows what? Mr. Wallace is a new kind of man, detective. We don't believe in hiding perfection. Why would we want to masquerade as a human? Well, I'm still trying to wrap my head around why Mr. Wallace, why the Wallace Corporation would bring in someone with such a troubled past. Dr. Edivane has extremely interesting skills. The Wallace Corporation likes to put great skill to exceptional use. However, if Dr. Edivane is doing the type of work you suggest, I think he should retire. Interesting choice of words. I would think he would be terminated. Love, I appreciate you meeting with me, but I would still like to meet with Clovis personally. There's some things you can only learn by looking someone directly in the eye. So the question, would love bring or allow Hack to interview Clovis? So obviously, it sounds like you've got two options here. They brought Clovis in order to continue this deep fake work, or could they have brought Dr. Edivane in because of his skill? And if you can make a deep fake, you can definitely make an android that looks like a human. But then we've got this weird twist that all of the Wallace Corporation androids, for some reason we don't know, are almost immediately recognizable as androids. You've got Kay walking around and he's being sneered at and called a skin job all the time. And whether it's because the model is known or whatever it is, he's immediately recognizable. So at the very least, the Wallace Corporation doesn't want to appear like there's anything secret like. They've obviously, or are about to in the future as their models come forward, is built on trust. So whatever's going on, good, bad, or ugly, and how Tyson Finn fits in with this, there obviously must have been something where Tyson was involved in this Dr. Clovis deep fake conspiracy. Makes sense. But the question again is Love going to let Hack talk to Clovis? Let's just go 50-50. I have no idea. So 50-50 chaos factor of 5, 50 or less, it's a yes. And we have 51, just over. Detective, I would love to make Dr. Edivane available. Unfortunately, he hasn't shown up today. I'm quite curious where he might have gotten himself to. Ooh, that's interesting. So she's either lying or Clovis himself has decided, uh-oh, gig is up. I like it. So we're got to be about done with Love. And where would this send us? Where would this send us? I think I'll roll on the random events. So let's see what a random event will give us as far as where we might go from here. 36 is imitate, okay? And 57, tactics. All right, I don't know, how would you imitate tactics? I don't know. Seems odd. 26 is procrastinate. And connected to 64, a burden. Detective, I'll personally let you know if I learn of Dr. Edivane's whereabouts. I think the Wallace Corporation might want to talk to him as well. Well, thank you for your time, and I would definitely appreciate it if you find out where he's at. I would like to talk to him personally. Well, thank you, Detective. I'll escort you away. Away? Interesting. Okay. So we have imitate tactics. So imitate, of course, I think comes right back to the deep fakes. So tells me that maybe there's something involved with an android that will look like somebody else. That makes sense. And then procrastinate a burden. Procrastinate a burden. Let me roll one more time and see if we get anything. 23. 23 is judge. Sounds like what a Blade Runner would do. And 68, rumor. Judge, rumor. So procrastinate and burden. Well, I do believe Dr. Edivane is going to have, ooh, I got it. So procrastinate a burden. Let's say Hack is going to go get some more noodles and a drink back in the place where he had that one fight where he used the sap for the first time. And judging rumor, I think he's going to be confronted by an android doing Dr. Clovis's bidding. That's where that sends me. He doesn't know this. So Hack is escorted away and he's hungry. He's got some information, no leads to go on, although he's told that LUV will give him a call if she gets something. So he's hungry. He goes to eat his favorite noodle joint. We've been there before. So let me roll to see if there is a scene interrupt. Just one 10-sided die. 7. Still no scene interrupt. So he gets to the noodle place. And the question is, who would the deep fake be? So he gets to the noodle place. Now, before we get into what will probably be combat, I think we'll pause here. There were no scene interrupts. We have the scene with LUV, which I like that. I think she came across decently. He orders up his noodles, and we will pause there with the impending doom coming. I have no idea. When we come back, we'll establish who this deep fake would be and how they would somehow even get to a point where Hack could be tricked, fooled, or not tricked or fooled. Interesting. But again, if you're enjoying this, I think we're getting close to wrapping this up. Whether or not, the big question here is still whether or not is Hack going to run into Finn at some point in time, Tyson? And if he does, is he going to retire him? He seems to lean that way one way or the other. But it's a cheap bundle with board games and RPGs. Again, if you like it, give it a thumbs up. And that will allow me to keep making these. Subscribe as well. And don't forget, I do these live maze rats. I think I'm going to try to do them every other weekend. But there you can join in. You can partake. You can just watch. You can send in text. Some even have playable characters. Boom. Chief.